Welcome back, you filthy exiles. Sorry, it's been a bit delayed in getting this out. Been a little busy over the last week, but I'm back, and I will be pretty busy over the next week with just other stuff. But I'll try and upload and probably be doing a little bit more live streaming than normal. I guess before I get into the video, I just want to talk about the stuff that I've been seeing around the community backlash. I think we need to remember that it's a video game. We're all adults, and we need to conduct ourselves of that mentality. If there's a problem, then you make it known, but there's no need to throw tantrums and whatever. And I'm just going to call out other streamers and content creators. They really just need to calm the fuck down and just get with the program. Like, there's stuff in the game that's not going well at the moment. That's fine. You know, post up, put it online, put it to GGG through the official means to do so. But some of the stuff I've seen is just crazy. I think we all just need to calm down and relax and just enjoy the game for what it is. I'm having a lot of fun. There's a whole heap of people having a lot of fun. It's a good opportunity to play different builds, i.e. like this one that we're going to talk about. So let's just keep it civil, everyone, and get along with each other and have some fun. Anyway, let's not talk about that. Anyway, that's all I'll mention of it on the channel. Let's talk about not Blazing Salvo, but if you play Blazing Salvo, you can use this video as well. Let's talk about Crackling Lance, which is what you can see here. So yeah, let's get into the mechanics of it. Okay, so I have pulled a second POB down, because you guys have been asking for the POB, and this will be in the description below. There are some upgrades. Now, there's 3 different ways you can play this build. You can go the shock version, and basically use an impulses chest. That's going to give you huge map clear with the explodey of the impulses. The second variation is to actually use a Doriani's prototype and negative lightning stack. And the best way to do that is actually via the rings that drop off the new league mechanic. And you can get like negative attribute rings, or, you know, like this. That can give you negative attributes, so negative lightning, or you can use Ventus Gambles, and then basically you use a Annihilation Staff, which is going to give you huge damage, but then you're going to have defense issues. The last way that you can play this build is the way that I play it. And in particular, my version, it's not going to be the way that everybody plays it, but as you'll notice, my version is much tankier, and there would have been B-roll at the start because I recorded a heap of shit for this video. But I use Leadership's Price, which right now is pretty damn cheap. You don't need a perfectly rolled item. I picked up one with basically no impact of total resistances. It's just got -1 lightning res, which is fine. That's not going to break the bank for us because we're already overcapped in that department anyway at 78% of everything less fire res at 81%. But basically, I use this. This gives me Scorching Conflux, Sapping Conflux, Brittle Conflux, and so my intelligence and strength is exactly aligned. The way that you basically get this to align is you'll notice none of my gear has any attributes on it. And that's by design, except for dexterity. That's by pure design, because if you have any strength or intelligence on your gear, you won't be able to easily align your strength and intelligence in your tree. And so basically you're just moving points around in the tree at this stage. The other big thing is having the Glorious Vanity with Doriani passives. You want about 3,900 blood sacrifice, and I'll explain this in the upgrades or where this build's going, because the DPS is going to go much higher than what it is now. And as you'll see, it rips through bosses right now, and Delve as it is. But basically, using that will pull a bunch of these strength points down, and then that makes it easier to align your intelligence and your strength at the end of the day. Now, where the gearing currently is from a mechanic standpoint is pretty much all rare gear. Like, there's no crazy uniques. The only uniques is Leadership's Price and Gifts from Above. No Watcher's Eyes or anything like that. So we're getting this much damage off of just native skill scaling and just good building. And I'll talk about the gear in part of this video that's coming up. So anyway, let's have a look at the tree. So the current iteration of the tree is 3.19 million DPS, and that's including our Sigils of Power stacks. So if we take that down, it's 2 mil. So outside of that, if we just look at this here, so we have maximum charges. The reason why we have maximum charges is because we're using Relikesh's Impatience, and basically what this means, you'll see when I'm moving, my charges go away. When I'm standing, I get all my minimum charges. Now this item right now is about, how much are you? About 50 to 70 chaos, roundabouts. So we have maximum of all of our charges. We are focused, so I had a lot of questions about this. The way that focus works, and I've got it mapped on my move button, and I've got it mapped just here for when I'm standing still, is any item that has a focus roll on it, it will automatically give you focus. It's not a skill that you need to attach or anything like that. It has no mana cost, and basically for me, I use it in my shield to get double damage while I'm focused. I use it on my helm to get 12% additional physical damage reduction while focused, and I use it on my gauntlets to get 45% attack and cast speed, so I get the cast speed. You can also get the belt roll, which gives you crits are lucky, and that's basically how you max out your crit strike if you're running a focus character. And then focus is only down for very, very short. I think it's up for 4 seconds, and then it has an 8-second cooldown. And if you run CDR on your belt, you can get that down even further. So pretty straightforward stuff. So that's why we have that ticked. It's pretty much always up. Do you have flasks active? Well, yeah, we do. Are we on Consecrated Ground? Yeah, we're an Inquisitor. 4 intensity, we're pretty much always at 4 intensity. Other people will be like, oh, you're inflating the tree, you can shut up and go away. We're on 4 intensity pretty much all the time. That's how we do damage. Sigil of Power, we pretty much always have that up. You know, it's not as high without it, but, you know, this is a delve-based character, so we don't need as much DPS. And as we go up to the final tree, and I'll show you the changes, it gets pretty crazy. So we have Scorch because we're running the leadership's price, and we've got our intelligence and our strength matched. We've got Scorch, which we have 30%, 6% of brittle, so and then 15% sap, which gives us a huge damage reduction on our fizz damage. Guardian and Pinnacle boss, there's nothing else weird going on with resistances or anything like that, so that's all good. And we're also, the enemy's going to pretty much always be on Consecrated Ground, so yeah, that's a thing as well. And with all that, we get 6.58 attacks per second, 100% crit. People are like, oh, Brittle's been nerfed. Brittle is extremely powerful, irrespective, even in its current iteration. So, did they really nerf it? Not really. It's still super powerful. And outside of that, we've also got like, you know, 1155 life regen, net 600 when we're running Righteous Fire. This build's just really powerful. Now, outside of that too, I've also ticked off, where is it? Val Haste. If you've got Val Haste, you're at 3.5 mil, and I pretty much always use Val Haste and focus at the same time. But that's ticked off just because people will be like, hey, that's not cool, you can't have that ticked on, so I've ticked that off. And also, if RF is off, you're at 2.2 mil. It's still respectable damage. And generally, I only use RF when I'm actually in like maps and killing bosses. I don't use it in Delve because Delve is super dangerous and you need that heavy regen to be able to survive the shit that you're going to get slapped with. So as an overall, that's pretty much the real-time POB. So let's talk about the gearing and what to do there. Okay, so since the last video, there's been some changes. I was playing during the nights where I could for about an hour or so a piece each night. But basically, I'm still sort of filling in gem sockets at the moment, but where I'm at, my wand is basically cast speed, spell damage, added lightning damage to spells, crit multi, and there's a bit of crit chance. I haven't yet been able to find a +1 to lightning skill gems, but if I could, I'd have a lot more damage. Okay, helm-wise, life regen rate, there's a bit of rarity on here, chaos res, and my fizz damage reduction while focused. You can do whatever you want with this. I don't have the enchant on it yet, but I'll talk about that at the very end. Shield, regeneration, life, a lot of armor, so we get our armor up, all resist, and chance to deal double damage, which comes off syndicate missions. So if you run syndicate missions, that craft will become available for your crafting bench. Leadership's price, anyone that you can get that you can balance in your build. I haven't yet anointed it, but when I do, I'll be running a charisma, because I want to get another I want to get Defiance Banner into the build as well. I found this ring in the Mirror of Kalandra content. So cold res, dexterity, and cast speed. You can get much better rings than this, but this is just a really good one that I found that I've been carrying through. I'm pretty much overcapped on cold res too, so I could drop that ring off as long as I got the 27% cast speed on another ring. I'd be good. Chest, I'm still running a pretty scuffed 6-link. So this one just gives me a heap of energy shield, 120 life, 67 life per second, fire res, and chaos resistance. Now the biggest one here, gifts from above. This I found to be incredible, and if you're not getting as many drops in the current league because it's based on the rarity find, this sort of addresses that a little bit. So I got a corrupted version of this because it gave me 8% increased cast speed, and cast speed for this build is pretty paramount. But 34% global crit chance, 50% increased rarity of items dropped while enemies are killed with a critical strike, because we always crit, we always have 50% increased rarity. With our helm, we have 60% increased rarity, so I've had some pretty okay drops. I've been dropping a lot of Exalt Orbs this league, actually. At 50% increased damage while on consecrated ground, and because we're an Inquisitor, we're always on consecrated ground, so we get a flat 50% increased damage off that, and 5% increased chance to block attacks as well. So really good ring, underrated in past leagues, but super good this league. And it's a 1C item, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so if you're playing this build, then just get this ring. You'll get decent drops, or decent-ish drops. And that sort of negates all the issues of all the bullshit around the patch and everything. At least that's what I found. Gloves. You want gloves with dexterity, life regen, if you can get life on them, and your focus rolls. So cast speed, attack and cast speed while focused. I got a 47% roll. Belt. Resistances, flat life regen, and any armor that you can get on it, if you can fit it. Otherwise, you could always take the crits while lucky benchcraft on it, or cooldown reduction as well for focus. Relicash's Impatience is my boots, and obviously, as I explained at the start, it's got chaos res, 30% movement, but it gives you minimum of all of your charges at when you stay stationary. And because Crackling lands as a stationary cast skill, it's a perfect item. And then everything I have is in my flasks is just, when gain 2 charges when hit. If you can get 3 charges, even better. They nerfed it, but it still works pretty well in Delve. And then I've just got Quicksilver, Quartz, Granite, and Diamond. Now, if you don't get any extra effect from the Diamond, you could switch that out for a Silver Flask and or a Gold Flask as well to increase your magic find even more. And in fact, if we test that, because I haven't really thought about that, does it have an impact? It doesn't have an impact on the build, actually. So you could actually switch out that Diamond Flask for anything you wanted, and it'd be fine. But that's it for gearing. Gearing's really basic on this build. Alright, so skill gem setups. In the helm, I'm still working through this, but Divergent Righteous Fire. Reason why we want Divergent is you get an additional 19% increased spell damage. Cast damage taken, I am going to use Phase Run, level 1 Phase Run on that too. And Haste as well, Val Haste. We definitely want Val Haste. This is going to give us a huge buff up. On the amulet, I've just got Flame Dash, Sigil of Power, and Tempest Shield. In the shield, Arctic Armor, Clarity, and Determination. A lot of people ask me about Mana Sustain. Literally just put Clarity in the build and pick up the node here, and you're good. That fixes your Mana Sustain pretty easily, actually. In the chest, I'm running Phantasmal Crackling Lance, Spell Echo, Divergent Inspiration, Increased Crit Damage, Intensify, and Added Lightning Penetration. Now, some people will be like, hey, but don't you have the Ascendancy for that, right? If I run this Ascendancy Inevitable Judgment to get the negation over resistances of crit, it actually decreases my damage when I run Leadership's Price, as you can see here. So I run Augury of Penitence, which also gives me reduced elemental damage, or enemies do reduced elemental damage to me, which is much more fruitful for this build. And that's why I'm running what I'm running, but that's also why I'm running Awakened Lightning Penetration in the chest as well. And then once this gets to level 5, then I can inflict 10% lightning exposure, and that gives me a pretty good increase in deeps. In my gloves, I'm going to be running Defiance Banner, Anomalous Assassin's Mark. The reason why we run Anomalous is 4% increased damage against cursed enemies. Shield Charge and faster attacks, and then in my boots I'm running a cast and damage setup with Molten Shell, increased duration, and Stone Golem for even more regeneration. So as you can see here, I got my little Stone Bro, and I've got pretty good regeneration here as well. That's it for gem setups. Really simple stuff, really easy, not crazy at all. Okay, pathing tree. So off the back of the last pathing tree, I did adjust the tree slightly. If you're following the POB, follow it exactly if you want to run Leadership's Price, because this is how to balance out all your attribute points. Since I have taken Proficiency and Bloodless, now this also opens up the option of getting all these Reservation Masteries as well. Entirely up to you if you want to do that. I'm not going to do that though, because if you run the right Dorianis, you actually get really good points in the rest of the tree. Like this one, 31% increased lightning damage, which is fucking huge. This one down here too also gives you huge amounts of survivability and increased crit multi. And then basically, yeah, everything else is pretty kosher. So there's no real big changes in the tree. And eventually, you know, we're going to be putting in a Leap of Faith, and we'll be able to pull off all of these 4 nodes here, as well as this node, and then basically move all of this down into picking up these points to optimize our damage, but we'll talk about that next. Alright, Pantheons. So I run Soul of Lunaris. The reason why is when you're in Delve, you need that damage reduction when you're surrounded by enemies. And then I run Soul of Aberith because Burning Ground's a real problem, and you get certain enemies that inflict Burning Ground around them, especially in Delve, and this just removes the whole issue of Burning Ground and Ignite altogether. And that's pretty much the Pantheon. Okay, so anyway, if this video helped you, I know everybody asks a lot of questions. I'll have the POB of what it is right now in the description. I'll also have the POB of the future build, where the build's going. If you're keen to play Impulses and do Screen Explodes, great way to make currency and things like that, then yeah, switch to Impulses. But if you run Impulses, you can't run Leadership's Price, because with Impulses it needs Shock, and with Leadership's Price you do Sap instead of Shock, so you can't Shock. So just run... what I would run there is an All's Uprising with a Zealotry roll on it, and then basically you then get free Zealotry, and that's going to push your DPS up through the roof, and you'll just explode your way through maps like nothing else. Yeah, anyway, until next time, have a good one, and bye.